Hello everyone. Good morning. Hello Samesh. Hello Sagar, Kalpana. Good morning and good evening to others from joining from other locations. Good morning Jayashree, Shweta, San, Manikandan, Love. Very good morning. Hello Shantini. Very good morning. Okay friends, so I think it's time to start. So today we had to start delayed by 5 minutes. The reason was there was some connectivity issue. Hello Lokita, good morning. So I had to ask them to restart the webinar session. So there were some connectivity issues with the Go webinar, so we had to restart it again. So, okay. Okay friends, so now I'm just sharing my screen. Let me know if you are all able to see. First, let me make myself as a presenter. Okay. Okay, friends. So, on continuation to our yesterday's topic on visual analytics in depth. So, this is going to be the module 3, what we would be continuing for today. So, friends, please open and keep your Tableau module. Tableau and connect to Sample Superstore and make it ready there. So, a couple of observations there. So, I had seen some feedback from people that they wanted to know in a real time how these functionalities would be used. Okay. So, these, as I told you, friends, this functionalities, what we are seeing are very basic things. Okay. So, on a real-time basis, if you see, on a real-time, if you wanted to know, like, whenever your users are having the reports generated. So, whenever your business partners or your customers wanted your dashboards built on top. So, these sorting or filtering, these would be like basic things that we would be doing prior to development of any of the workbooks or dashboards. So, these are like part and parcel of any workbook. So if you take any workbook, there would be filters. So they might be asking filters with the states and other information. So maybe I can just share you some sample dashboards, how it is looking like, and what and all functionalities that we saw over here, how they are using that, so that you can get a fair idea on how things are looking outside and where exactly these concepts would be used. Would that be enough, friends? Because for now, these are like basic things, basic understandings of those concepts. So, for example, we have some case study explanations and examples. So, with these, you will be able to see, get to know like how to use this. But where this is applied, I will be showing you a few examples of a dashboard. So that you can, after I complete a module, I will be showing you the dashboards so that you can have a look at that and you can see like how the things are working. I'll download a dashboard and I'll show that to you. So so that it is useful and you can just make use of that when that would be used. Okay. Hope that should help you. Okay. So the next concept what we will be seeing for today's session would be calling as grouping. Okay. So what is grouping? Grouping is nothing but it is going to be a kind of a visual example. So before moving on with the groupings, what I would do is I'll first show you something on this credit card information. Okay. So this is one of the sample dashboard what I was looking into. So I was just looking into some of the data there. Okay. If you see, friends, this particular dashboard, what we see, this is basically a dashboard there. Okay. So if you see in this dashboard, what are the things that you are able to see? Can you tell me what are the concepts that we saw yesterday, and in that what at all we are using here in this dashboard? Can anyone tell me? Exactly. So the concept what we saw yesterday, that filtering is used here. So filtering is going to be like part and parcel of any dashboard. So whatever filters that you would be using, that would be there for any dashboards. Here basically they are doing a filtering based on the states. For example, Arizona, when you are selecting, can you see here? The Guarantor Arizona is there. Based on this is like a balance. What is the outstanding balance? And what is the credit limit? And for this particular state, Arizona, what is the credit limit? And what other things that you are able to see? You are able to see like something, number of cards, or the utilization for each and every card. What is the utilization percentage? So you are able to come to a conclusion based on something there. I'll tell you on how exactly these dashboards are created and things are working. But however, when you see that these filters are part of any of the dashboards. But how to go to this particular sheet? If you just scroll your mouse over here and then get into that sheet, this is how the sheet looks. So here what concept is being used? Can anyone tell me? What and all in this? This is a very familiar thing what we would be using on day-to-day basis, for what we have used. Exactly. Manikandan is saying it is the sorting concept what we saw. That is used here. Jayashree, are you getting me? So where these things are getting applied, if you have joined the call. Yeah. So the things what we saw over there, like in terms of the credit limit here. So here, for example, they are doing a sort here. Did you see that, friends? Can you see? A sorting is being done at a row level here. And what and all they have used? Can you see that? They have used all the measures. So instead of using a single measure, they have used everything there, the balance. So if you just see this measure names, there is a filter there, and they are editing this filter. When we edit this filter, they are selecting these measures out of it. And that is what is getting displayed here. So they have taken the measure names and they have basically dropped the measure values in the text, and they have changed the box type to text box. And what else they have selected? They have selected, this is going to be a filter which is going to be applied at the context level. So basically there is a true or false condition for a selected state. I will show you what this selected state means and what is this basically. Some calculations are there, for example. So someone asked me about the calculation there where we would be using and how to make use of that. So for example, here this is going to be a Boolean calculation what they are creating. I will show you how these calculations are used. So friends, the concept whatever we are seeing over here, and there is something also called sets, and we don't see grouping here. Basically, we don't see a grouping here. But whenever we are seeing this, you are able to observe that many of the things what we are seeing that is getting applied, and there is a sorting which is applied here. I'm going to right click here and go to the sort option and see that. So basically this is the manual sort is being done. Balance, the credit limit, the cards, utilization and rating. That is what they are doing it manually. This is going to be a manual sorting. So this is very simple workbook. So this workbook is integrated here. Can you see that? This workbook is being integrated here as a part of dashboard. Whatever we see is in the workbook, that is getting integrated within the dashboard. So any workbooks what we are creating, that will not be used separately. So it might be used as a whole there. It might be a part of a module there in the dashboards and these things. But any workbook what we see, it might not be used alone as we think. Okay, so always it's a bigger picture what we would be seeing on. So what we might be designing might be a smaller portion of that entire dashboard, but it will have its own meaning and understanding. Okay, and then okay, friends. So and then moving on with the other part. So this is other thing, other worksheet what we had. So here basically some of this slightly advanced one, but they have used. So what and all they have used? They have used average. These are the measures. Okay. So in these measures, if you see, average balance is one of the measures. So this average balance is being dropped over here, and so this average balance, average credit limit, average number of cards, and utilization. These are 4 different graphs what they are generated. Basically, what kind of graph is this? This is basically a bubble graph. So where each and every bubble represents a state over there, and that's what they have taken it for this graph. So maybe once we see some more advanced concepts, we will come again to this one or to some other dashboard, and we will be seeing what and all things that we have applied. So once we read through those concepts, we will be using that. We'll see that how that is getting used in a real-time scenario. Does it make sense, friends? Any questions? Okay. So okay, the data source for this one, this is basically a data source what I have downloaded it online. So you won't be able to see this data source. The data source for this is going to be like actual credit data of US. So how is the US market doing, and credit card information for the bank. So that is basically the data source here. So here, since it is directly downloaded from a Tableau website, so I have we might not be able to see the data source directly for this. So maybe when I'm clicking on this data source, it is asking me to open it again. So basically the data source they haven't shared with us. This is an integrated data source, something like in Tableau Public what we have, something similar to that. Okay, friends. Now moving on, I'm closing this module. Similarly, we will see the other dashboards as we complete each and every module. We'll try to see what and all concepts that we saw there, how that is getting applied in a bigger picture. Okay, I'll open my Tableau and connect it to our sample superstore. Okay, friends. Now we'll connect to our sample superstore. Friends, you all connect to the sample superstore and keep the connections ready. Okay, so here we are going to see a concept called grouping. So first I will tell you how to do a grouping visually, then we will create a group manually. Okay, two things we will see. So I'm having something called categories. I'm having something called subcategories. Okay, I'm going to take the category and I'm going to take the sales. These two are the metrics what I would be taking here. So I'm taking the subcategory and I'm taking the sales. Okay, so when I'm taking these subcategory and these sales, I'm just doing a sorting for now, or just for my own purpose. I'm just doing a sorting now. Okay, so here whatever items which are like this fasteners, the labels, the envelopes, the art, these things alone, what I would do, I would want to merge this data separately and show that as, okay, so these are like really high performing things. I wanted to show them as a separate group. So the reason for that is when I'm seeing a bigger picture, I don't want to see very small items which is having these amount of sales. And when seeing some sales of around 340K, so it doesn't make sense to see something on 3000K. So on 3000 data. So that doesn't make much difference, right? So I don't want to see that. That's why what I'm doing, I'm just going to combine these data until, which is like below 50,000 whatever items are there, I'm going to group them separately. Okay, I'll show you how to group that. Okay, so if you are all ready with yours, you can try it after I show that to you. Okay, so press your control button, click on supplies, art, envelopes, labels, fasteners. So click on these five items. Sure, Jayashree, definitely I will be showing you the dashboards, what I have built or what you can use, so that the concepts whatever we are saying, you should be able to note that. Okay friends, so here we will select, yeah, welcome Jayashree, thank you. So here friends, we will be selecting these items. So press your control button, click on this, fasteners, labels, envelopes, art, and then supplies. Click on these 5 items. After you click on these, they will get bolded like this. After they are bolded, there is a bell pin kind of symbol. Can you see this? Bell pin kind of symbol should be created for you. So I'm going to click on that, and as soon as I do that, can you see in my legend there are 2 categories which came. One is art, envelope, fasteners, and the other category. So once I'm doing that, I'm actually getting 2 things there in my window. One would be the actual thing what we had, and the other one would be the new category. So the others category. So I'm just enabling the highlighting here. You can see automatically this got created. And if you see the legend name, it has changed from subcategory to subcategory group. And if you see in the data set, there are one more additional dimension which got created. Can you see this? There is a new dimension that got created called subcategory group, and that subcategory group is added to color by default, and there is a legend also which is available for the same. So there are two items, one is art, envelope and fasteners, and other one is like others. So what this grouping is basically doing, it is just creating a separate group for me. So when I'm right clicking and clicking on edit the group, can you see this art, envelope and fasteners, these three things put together, fasteners and two more, and these are the others what we have. So there are two groups that has been created for now. Yes, Sagar. I'll be repeating this once again, friends. So what I'll do, I'll just do a Control Z. I'll undo the changes whatever I did. Okay. So now this is the data set what I had, and you closely observe that there are no dimensions called subcategory group in my existing one before I'm creating something. What I'm doing a Control click on fasteners, labels, envelopes, art and supply. So after I do a Control click on this, what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on this group member symbol. So as soon as I clicked on this particular category, this group member symbol, what I'm able to see, I'm able to see the subcategories, items, this art, envelopes, fasteners and other group automatically got created. So I have to enable highlighting before I select this so that those things are getting visible. Okay. So this is how it is working. Okay. Now what we will do, and also a dimension called subcategory group has been created. Now what I will do, I will remove my existing subcategory and I will take this subcategory group and add that here. Can you see now what has happened? In the subcategory group, basically the data whatever we had for art, envelopes and fasteners, those things got combined as a single group, and whatever other items are there, that got combined as a separate group. So when the grouping would be useful? You got this one, friends? Okay, Manikandan is saying, won't it merge the data for the 4 subcategories? So Manikandan here, won't we merge the data for 4 subcategories? No, it has actually merged the data here, Manikandan. It has basically taken the sum of all those 4 records. So that's what it has done. So instead of having the subcategories individually, seeing them, these 4 values, this 27,000, this 16,000, 3,000 plus 12,000 plus 46, it has combined everything and it has summed up and it has given us the result as 1 lakh and some thousand. So this is what the result was, what we get. It has merged everything and put it together as 1,05,779. Yeah. Okay. So when do we use this group? Yeah, it has merged there only in the previous screen. Yes. So when do we use this group? Okay. So this grouping is really helpful for us, friends, when we were working with maps. So why I am saying it's when working with maps, this grouping is very much essential. So you wanted to group certain countries based on their own currencies. So in many of the countries, the common currency that they are accept, though they have their own independent currency, mostly the currency what they transact, for example, Singapore or US or many other countries there in the world, they accept US dollars. You can give US dollars in the local market shops and you can buy things there directly. So it's not mandatory that you need to have that country's local currency. It is okay if you are having US dollars. You can basically take it and buy anything there in Singapore. So that is going to be the common currency. So when you want to group those countries together as a single group, and whenever you wanted to group certain countries based on their own region, for example, European Union is there. You would like to see that European Union as a single region there. That point of time, what we can use is we can make use of this groupings there. So comparison of European Union versus other countries. So what is the things that they are generating and these things for comparison purpose. So generally this grouping is used in that context, or also in something like this what we are using. So for example, when you want to combine these items put together and you would like to show this as a single entity, that is when you make use of grouping. Does it make sense, friends? Are you all clear with the grouping, when we can use this? Okay. So now what we will do, I have shown you a visual grouping now. Now I'm going to create a group manually. So what I will do, I'll undo the changes, whatever I did. I'm going to create a group manually, friends. Okay. So this was the earlier group, what we had. Okay. So I have made all the, I have reverted all the changes, whatever I did. And now we have the old view with us. So in this view, friends, what we would be seeing is how to create a manual grouping. So when the groupings can be done for dimensions, how would you do the grouping? Right click here on any of the dimensions. Any dimensions you can right click. So which dimension you want to group, you right click that dimension. I wanted to group the subcategory. I go to create and click on group. Okay. So this manual grouping gives us even better control compared to a visual grouping what we did sometime before. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically combine the similar items. For example, this I'm going to do a control, click. So for example, this accessories, bookcases, chairs, copiers, envelopes, fasteners, these things, and machines and papers and tables. Okay, so these things I'm going to create a group for these items. Maybe I'm just giving a group for this as office supplies. So I'm going to create a group called office supplies, and inside this office supplies I am having these items. And there are other items such as this art, so this art, furnishings, phones and appliances, I'm just creating a separate group Maybe I'm creating a group called so I'm making as other supplies, binders, labels, storage, and supplies. I'm making it as others. So I'm just saying it as others. Okay. So these three groups I have created here, friends. You can just see after I create this, I'm clicking on OK and apply. This subcategory item is here and I'm just dropping it over there. And this subcategory item, I'll be placing it here. So now you see all those items, whatever I did there. And basically I can take this subcategory group, drop it in my colors also. So three different colors we'll be getting. So this is like office supplies is overall office supplies is contributing for this much amount of sales. Other supplies is doing this much amount of sales. And there are other items which are doing some minimal miscellaneous items. So these kind of groupings really help me to categorize those to put together as a group, and maybe I can do some manipulations with the help of that. So for better categorization, this is helping me. So this is the same thing what we did in visual format. The same group has been created here as well. However, you can customize it further to make it even better. So that is what you are doing it over in this subcategory grouping. Sure, Lokita, I can just show this to you once again. So what we did is we created a group here. So for this grouping, okay. So this was like my earlier thing. What was there? So how to create a grouping manually? Right click here, friends. Create a group. On whatever dimension you wanted to create a group, you create that. Right click here and you do a control click on the items whatever you wanted to group it. So for now I'm just selecting some of the items. So I'm going to click on group. So I'm just having the same name whatever is there. And similarly the other items whatever I'm selecting, I'm just selecting those items and clicking on group. And there is other group which is there, which basically has all other items put together. So this is how we generally create the groups here. Okay. Gautam's question is, can we drill down into a group and see what is the contribution for that? No, Gautam, grouping, you cannot do a drill down there. So basically, whenever you are doing a grouping, the main purpose is to sum up those items and see that. So basically, when you want to see the individual items, I would recommend you creating a within that particular group. If you want to see those items individually, what you can do is the other way round up is you can just take this group in colors, okay, and you can take the subcategory, the dimensions in the rows. So now when you are seeing there are three groups here, you saw, right? So these are the accessory groups. So you can maybe have two worksheets. So this would be your first worksheet, and you can have one more worksheet which is going to have a grouping kind of outer group like. So for example, you will be having the same subcategory group based in color. Subcategory group, you would be putting it here, and you can have the sales out there. So this would be your outer group, And then based on these two sheets, when you are opening up a dashboard kind of thing, you can put the first group here and the second group on top. And basically whenever you are clicking on any one of those items, you can enable. I'll tell you what these actions are. So if you click on this, those items which are within this group alone get selected and those alone get highlighted. So these are some of the dashboard actions what I will be showing you when I'm working with dashboards. So for now you can do that using this, but not in a group. You cannot directly do that. Hope this is clear for you, Gautam. Okay. Okay, friends. So this is what is grouping about. So we'll see what is that we have it there. So this is the visual grouping. Create a group. Click on the dimensions and create a group, and you select the items and drag and drop those groups here. Automatically you will be able to do that grouping. So this is the visual grouping what we saw. So that is selecting those items and clicking on the groups. Okay. So now friends, I am going to show you a calculated group. So this is basically going to be a calculated group. So the same thing that what we created in grouping, we can achieve it using some calculations also. Okay. So for that, what I will do is I'll take a new sheet. Okay. So we have this subcategory and we have the sales. And under show me, we will be using this graph. Yeah. So friends, my question now is, like, instead of this manual grouping and things, I would like to make this group more intuitive by maybe I wanted to group these items based on my sales. So I would like to have two groups. So whenever my sales is greater than 100,000, or whenever my sales is greater than 150,000, 150K or 120K, I would like to see those items alone as a separate group. And which are less than 120K, I would like to see that as a separate group. So in order to achieve this functionality, friends, directly there is no option for us to do this. Instead, we will be creating something called calculated fields. You will see what the calculated fields are, and maybe for this example, I will show you one of the calculations. Okay, and I will show you how to create a calculation. Okay, so here I am going to right click on this subcategory and I am going to click create calculated field. Here I am saying sales groups. Grouping by sales. Here I am saying if my sum of sales is greater than 120,000, then I would like to display it as above 120K. Else, I would like to display that as below 120K. ending it here. So these are basically like if-else statements, friends. Yeah, Kanya? Yeah, please, just a moment, I'm just finishing this, then you can share your screen. So here, friends, this is what, whenever you have to perform some calculations, this is like a very simple if statement. So people who already know programming or must have used some of the formulas and things in Excel also, you should have known that there is an if and other conditions that is used. So as a simple if condition, this is saying basically if my sales is greater than 1,20,000, then you show that as above 120K, else you display this as below 120K. So this is what we are basically creating on this particular calculation. So this is how after we create a calculation, you can just see that the value, based on the value that is getting returned, this calculation will get created. And you see here grouping by sales, this got created under the measures. If you would like to have this calculations as a dimension, you can right click here and change it, or basically you can just make the changes here for the dimensions. So what would be the value that would be displayed? You can just change the value from measures to dimension. So this basically, since it's going to be returning type is this, it's not allowing us to change it from measures to dimensions, so we'll keep it as measures only. Okay. So in the meantime, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to Kanya's screen. It seems like she's facing some issues in grouping. I'm making you as a presenter, Kanya. One moment. Okay. Yeah, Kanya, I'm able to see your screen. I think you are on mute. I'm not able to hear you. One moment, let me see if I need to unmute you. No, you are not on mute, but I'm not able to hear your voice. Anyway, that's okay. So, okay, you don't have a mic. Oh, not a problem, not a problem. So here you are not able to create a calculated field, is it? Friends, those who are using Tableau, are you all Tableau public? Are you all getting the same, or are you all able to get the calculations? Calculated field window, are you able to get it? Okay, others are getting it. Okay. So, Kanya, can you please go to this analysis window? Analysis on top. Analysis, yeah. And then click on create calculated field, which is from last it is fourth. Yeah. I saw some field got created somewhere. Yeah, it is getting created. Can you see that? Calculation 1, calculation 2, 3 and 4. Can you right click any one of that and click on edit? On your left side on dimensions, you are able to see calculation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top. Yeah. Right click on any one. Click on edit. No, no, not there, not there. Just click outside. Yes. Now you click on, click on edit. Something very strange. Yeah, okay, you are getting that window. Maybe it's getting hidden somewhere. Yeah, it is here. Yes. This is where you need to type in the calculations then. It's somewhere getting hidden somewhere in other fields. You can basically click here and write your calculations directly in this window. Yeah. Thank you. Okay friends, so now we have this calculation created. So grouping by sales. I'll just share this calculation with everyone. If someone is facing any difficulties in doing this calculation, you can make use of this, what I'm giving it to you now. So I have just typed the calculation, friends. Okay, so why did not the measure default to that? So basically the measures here, what we are, extra zero is there. Okay, I'm sorry friends, if there is an extra zero in that calculation, please discard that. And so here, the grouping by sales, why this is basically coming as into the measures window. So what is the return type of this particular function? So if you just see an if condition there, whenever we are writing an if condition here, friends, so when you are typing it out, if, for example, what is the return type of this if statement? It is going to be, so test a series of expression returning then the value of the first true expression. So here the return type of this particular thing is going to be a number. So it's basically is going to check the sum of sales here. So if my sum of sales is greater than 120,000, yeah, there is an extra zero, please remove that. So if it is greater than 120,000, in that case, so I'm basically evaluating a value I'm evaluating a numeric field here, which is going to be my sales. So that's why this is basically coming and sitting under the measure there. So whenever the return type of this particular thing is going to be a number, it comes and sits in measures. Okay, so you can see that particular return type of this, though this is returning a string for us. However, the evaluation condition here is going to be evaluated for a numeric field. So that's the reason why we are having the sum of sales. We are checking that, and this is the values that we are getting. Everyone got it, friends? So that's why the return type of this is matching with that. So it's coming and sitting as a measure there. So if we want, we can basically change the return type and then group it accordingly and place it. So generally, the calculations what we are creating when it is a numeric field is getting evaluated, we generally have those calculations sitting under this particular measure field. Yes. So for example, Samir, the same thing when you do it on just sales, you see. So this is basically an aggregated field. Can you see here? It is basically an aggregated field. String is ABC only. An equal to symbol when it is coming before a string equal to ABC, which is basically going to be a measure there. So it's basically evaluating both the conditions. So if you see, a string is generally represented as ABC value. However, this is also a string only, the return type. However, internally, this is working as a numeric field intern. So if I'm just removing this sum of sales, sum from here, you see what happens. So if sales is greater than 1,20,000, okay. I'm clicking on OK. Can you see now where my grouping sales had gone? Now it went to my dimension. Automatically, it went to my dimension instead of sum of sales when I just saying sales alone. That point of time, it is just considering the value what I'm returning alone. It's not considering this. However, when I'm doing an aggregate function here, sum of sales. When I'm doing that sum of sales, so when I'm doing this sum of sales is greater than 1,20,000. So when my sum of sales is greater than 120,000, then now you see that this grouping by sales is coming. I'm clicking on OK again, and you see now it is part of my measures. So whenever fields are getting aggregated or whenever the results are getting summed up, any arithmetic calculations are performed, automatically those values, calculations what we create, that comes and sits under the measures. Whenever normal operations, string manipulations, or the output return type is string and you are not performing any of the arithmetic things like aggregations and these things, automatically that comes and sits under the dimension. Are you getting this, Samir? Okay. Thank you, Salim. Yeah. So now the calculation is created, friends. Now what we'll do, I'll just take this group by sales and drop it in my colors. And now can you see, it's basically listing me two groups here. One is above 120K and the other one is below 120. So these are the two things. So the calculations what I had created here, based on the calculation what I have created, it is basically doing a grouping for these. And above 120K, below 120K, I'm able to get two of those here. So these kind of calculations like we will be using on day-to-day basis, friends, because you might have to do some customization. You might have to add more interactivity to your dashboards and reports. That point of time, you might have a business logic, what your business user might be able to see it, what he might be interested in seeing. So in those scenarios, you might not be directly use everything direct. In some cases, you might have to use mostly calculations also. So that is where this calculations plays a bigger role there in Tableau, which helps us to do more customizations like this. Okay, so further, this is not like very difficult, programming thing there. It is just you see this as a set of instructions. Okay, so I'm giving you an instruction. Okay, see whenever when something is greater than 120, display that as that. So this is not also that difficult to program, but you can definitely learn this after you practice it 2-3 times. You might need to practice sometime extra for people who are not from the programming background. You can practice like 2-3 times extra compared to normal things. So that point of time you will get used to this. So this would be useful for you to do more customizations, to make things more dynamic. to make your visualizations more appealing. So that point of time, these calculated fields will really help us. So let's start with some very basic calculations, and then we will move on with something advanced. So calculations are very important. So I would recommend the people who are new for programming, definitely you can learn it with visually you can do that. So that is the advantage of Tableau. However, when you know some calculations also, so that is when you make a difference there. Because if you see, anyone can make a difference here. So even if a new person who is coming and joining, he can basically learn Tableau, create visualizations, and he can make himself different. But what would be a differentiating factor between that person and you? That will be something in addition like that. So you can do something dynamic. You can make something work like this with the help of calculation. So that makes you more dynamic. So that is the reason why I'm stressing that it's better to learn it slowly so that you are getting used to that and you are becoming even better. So this is what we saw on our front. So everyone got this example, what I did. So we created two groups. So when it's above 120K, you just highlight those items. These are when below 120K, highlight those items based on the sales. So based on this, I can also do other things, other calculations I can add and make things even more dynamic. Can we use this calculated field for data for graphs also instead of just coloring and formatting? Yeah, Manikandan, this one can be used anywhere. So either when you are using, why I use it in color is basically to differentiate it. So differentiate these groups and see that. So definitely these things can be used in graphs as well to show those items, what is the sales for individual items. So the same thing I can make use of something called like bubble charts also, and then show that to you, like what are the items. So for example, when you are having like so many items here, appliances, accessories and things. So I'm basically dropping this grouping by in color. So basically above 120K, below 120K, how many items are there? Maybe I want to see the products based on the product name. So in that case, I will be making use of something called bubble charts here. And so in this, I would like to see what are the products which are above 120, what are the products that are below 120, or make use of this in any of the graphs. So not like mandatory, I need to use it here only. So based on the data, based on where you can apply it anywhere. So we just applied it in color for an example, but this can be used anywhere as per our own things. When we wanted to use it, we can make use of that. Okay. So this is what we created. So for high profitable items alone, we wanted to see. Dropped it in the color shelf, and so we'll take a break for 5 minutes, friends, and let's come out with a thing there like this. See here, this query what we are generating seems to be very static. I want to make this grouping more dynamic, friends. So dynamic in the sense, so I am entering a value, right? So I as a user, I am entering a value called 50,000. I would like to see all those items which are above 50,000 getting highlighted and below 50,000 getting highlighted. So here I will be setting a threshold value rather than having it by default. So I have to enter some value and get back the results. How I can do that? That we are going to see now with the help of something called parameters, which helps us in user interactivity. This is one of the very important concepts, friends. We'll be covering parameters separately, But for this example, we will be using parameters. I'll get you introduced to parameters, what they are. We'll go for a break for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, friends, I think we can start now. So, Sagar is saying I'm getting only one group despite using the same formula. Can I see your screen, Sagar? Can I? I'm making you as a presenter. One moment. Yes. Now you are the presenter, Sagar. You can share your screen. Okay. Can I go see your calculation, Sagar? The formula group of sales. Can you right click and edit that? Edit it. Yes. So can you remove 10 there? So by mistake I had given 10 extra Sagar in that formula. Yeah. Can you remove 10? Yeah. Now you apply and click OK. I think now this should be fine.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Okay, Sagar. Thank you. I'm taking back the presenter right.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, friends. So now I'll show you how to do the same grouping dynamically. Okay. So here instead of we setting the value as 120K here, I wanted this value to be set dynamically. So how I can do that? So for doing that particular thing, whenever you want to pass on some inputs or when you want to pass on some values so that the report is getting the values and it's basically repeating that. So it's doing some actions based on the values what you are entering. That we call them as parameters there in Tableau. So how to create a parameter? You can basically, there is an inverted down arrow here. You can just down click this and click on create parameter. So these parameters are nothing but they are basically going to be like the parameters are nothing but they are going to be a storage areas of your values what you will be entering. So the main intention of this parameter is to take the value what I am inputting, pass on that value to the report and display the output. So it is just doing a passing on value. Something like a courier company is there, right? So for example, DTDC or we have Blue Dart and others. So you send a courier so to one address there, somewhere down some other location you are passing on. Okay. So what that courier person is doing is taking that courier, delivering it that to the destination, right? Same thing this parameter is doing. So it is taking the value what you are inputting, passing on that value to my visualization. So that is what it is doing, friends, in a real time. That's what it is doing. Okay, so I'll create a parameter now. So are you clear with what is the parameter? Okay, so here friends we will take this, I will keep the parameter name as threshold, okay, and I'm making the data type of this parameter a floating point. For now I am going to enter any value, so maybe I'll keep this parameter value as integer for now. Only I wanted an integer value to be passed on here. So in allowable values there are other options, list and range, we will see that later. But for now I am just keeping allowable values, all values. So which means any value what I am entering it as integer, that values will be accepted and there is something called display format. So yeah, what is the number, currency, how would you like to display that value? So I'm saying like it is going to be on currency format. So I'm just saying it is going to be currency with some decimal places suffixed to that. For now I'm just setting it as currency format and clicking on OK. So first I'm checking the data type, integer, current value I'm setting it as 1, that is default which comes, and display format I'm saying it is going to be displayed as a currency value. So because since it's sales, I'm just displaying it as currency value. And I am clicking on OK here, friends. After I clicked on OK, there is something called parameters. A new thing got created there. Other than dimensions and measures, I'm able to see one more new item called parameters that got created. Are you able to see that window? So a new window called parameters got created, and what you need to do is you need to enable this parameter, friends. So you need to right click here and click on show parameter control. So after I'm showing this parameter control, basically here I can enter some values like 120,000. I can enter some values and like 100,000, 10,000. Like that I can enter some values here, friends, by default. Okay. So now I don't want this grouping to be done based on my aggregated that value. I want this to be based on the value. So whatever value I am entering here, I want this group to change. Why you think this group is not changing now, friends? What has happened? Why the group values are not changing now suddenly? What I need to do? The values whatever I am entering, that I have created a parameter. However, the values in this list are not changing anyhow. Why that is not changing? Kanya is saying we need to link this parameter with the sales. Okay, that's a nice suggestion. Shweta is also saying the same. Okay, yes, that's absolutely right, friend. So the parameter what you are creating, you need to use that somewhere. So here, what I will be doing is, instead of this 120K, what I have entered, I will enter the parameter name. What is my parameter name? My parameter name is threshold. So I will enter my parameter name. As soon as you enter your parameter name, the name will be displayed in a purple color like this. So as soon as I enter that parameter name, I am saying instead of this 120K, I am saying it as this is above threshold, this is below threshold. I am changing this calculation. Now my particular calculation has been changed to dynamic. Rather than having it to a static, now I have changed this parameter value to be dynamic. So whenever my sum of sales is greater than the threshold value, then it would be coming as above threshold. then it is less than this value what I am entering, then it will come as below threshold. Are you getting me, friends? I created a parameter called threshold. Now I need to pass on the parameter, whatever value I am entering in the parameter, to my report through this calculation. So this is what I am doing for passing the parameter value. Okay. So I'm clicking on OK. And now what I will do, I am going to take this grouping by sales, drop it in color. So I'm getting only above threshold here because everything is above that value. I'm saying above 100K. Now I'm saying above 150K. Above 200. So whenever I'm giving a value which is lesser than this, about 10,000, so now my values are getting changed dynamically. About 20,000, about 30,000. So this is how you get the parameter values from the users, and this is what we call them as interactivity from the users. So based on the value what we are entering, the values change here dynamically. As and when I type the values, it compares. If it is greater than this 30,000, then you display it in the different color. If it is less than 30,000, display it in a different color, like this. So it's above 50,000. These are the items which are above 50,000, which are below 50,000. These are the items. Yes, yeah, it is possible. So it is possible to use more than one parameter, friends. You can basically create one more parameter and basically use that parameter here. For example, parameter 2 you can have, and in the if statement you should basically use those two parameters. So you can have more than one parameters used, and that parameters can be used in the report. So for example, if sales greater than threshold, and for example I'm taking the profit, and profit is greater than the parameter 2 what I'm creating, and then you display them in a different way. Like that you can use multiple parameters. That is possible. Okay. So yeah, we can see an example just for now. So negative values when we are entering, what would happen? We'll see that. Negative 50,000, nothing will happen. So this will be showing the above threshold only, because everything, all items are above threshold. So above threshold is minus 50,000. So whatever items which are greater than minus 50,000, those items would be displayed. Here this would make sense if we are using profit instead of sales, because sales cannot be negative. We can have profits. So for profit, negative values make sense. We can make use of that. Okay, so for seeing an example, yeah, we can see an example for this. So for example, you create one more parameter. Okay, so I'm saying profit threshold. So I'm making it as float or integer. I click OK. Now I have this one more parameter created called profit threshold. I'm showing this parameter also. Okay. So now in this same calculation, what I'm doing, I'm editing this calculation and I'm saying if sum of sales greater than threshold and sum of profit greater than profit threshold, sum of profit greater than profit threshold, in that case, then you can say like it is above sales and above sales and profit threshold, else below threshold. So here I need to enter two parameter values, friends. And so for example, profit, I'm saying it is, here I can enter any values, like above profit is greater than 10,000. So here I need to enter values for both these parameters, and as soon as I enter the parameter values for both, so this is how we will be having that parameter values passed, more than one parameter values passed. Similarly, you can create a number of parameters, friends, and make your report accordingly more dynamic as per the requirement. You can make it more dynamic. You got this law? Okay, friends, for related to this parameters, we have a separate topic there, friends. So there we can see more details about the parameters. So here this was introduced for just the grouping purpose alone. So for any more details on this parameters, friends, like we can work on this parameters. There is a separate topic for us to work on this. Okay. So we had a couple of questions. I will try to answer it. Maybe not show you practically for now, but I will try to answer it for now. So we show only the items which meet the threshold value and remove the values from charts which is not meeting the threshold value. Yeah, Gautam, yes. We can do that. So we can remove those items from the chart which are not having that threshold. So for which we can add this in the filters. So instead of adding this particular parameter in the colors, so instead of grouping it here, you can just group it here, just drop it here. So you can just have a filter above threshold profit threshold and click on apply and click on OK. You got this? So like you can basically filter them out. Instead of dropping it in colors, you can drop this parameter threshold what we have created. We'll drop it in the filters. So that's how we can make it. Okay. And can I add a parameter on order date and consider only sales in a particular year to display above and below threshold? Yes, the parameter you can add anywhere, Shweta. So here it can be added to an order date also. You can just create a parameter for this order date, and whatever parameter type you require, you can just have it. So this would be the default type of this parameter would be on date values. Can you see here automatically the data type is chosen here as date, and it automatically lists all the date values. So basically you can have these values listed there and you can make use of this. This is also possible. I will show you this particular list parameters once we cover parameters separately, Shweta, because we are covering it separately here other than the one what we saw now. We will be covering parameters separately, so not worry. We will see about all other options which is available. Okay, so Manikandan has a question. In this wording, instead of this wording above threshold, can I have the value displayed? Actually, Manikandan, for displaying the value, so you might have to take that particular value. So instead, what we can do here is this grouping by sales, what we have done. So I'm just dropping back this back to the colors. And this grouping by sales, what we can do is I can just above sales and profit threshold, and I can just display the threshold parameter. However, it might throw an error here because it cannot concatenate this and this value. I might have to do some conversions. So I can directly take this. I might have to do some conversions here because you cannot combine these two values. If you see it, it will throw you an error stating that this basically this is a text and this is going to be a value what we have it here. So in order to convert it, you need to convert it as toString, or there has to be some conversion that has to be used. And then I need to make use of str of threshold. Maybe I can just see if this works. And no, this is also not working. So this is how it should generally work, but we cannot. So that's why I didn't display the values directly, because this will throw an error. We might have to do some manipulations and we might have to add the values. Okay, so with this we are done with the dynamic grouping, friends. So this is what we did. So in this dynamic grouping part, if you see, this is what we saw. So we created a parameter first and called threshold, and then we set a value to this threshold parameter, and then we created a calculation, sum of profit. When it is greater than that value, less than that, the other value. Okay, friends, now quickly going on to this knowledge check. So can you try answering this question? See, this is one of the real-time applications of this, the concepts what we studied here. Yes. So many of you are answering it as dynamic group. Okay. So this is one of the concepts what we studied just now. So when this would be applied, whenever your parameter value is changing dynamically, you don't want to make those changes visible just like that, and you want the values to be seen dynamic. In that point of time, you will be using this. So this parameter values will be used that point of time. So we'll see the answers for first question. Yes, it is not dynamic group. Instead, it is interactive or dynamic filter. So there is a difference here, friends, between dynamic groups and dynamic filters. In dynamic group, you can basically give only certain values alone, which is there in that list. However, here the question is, the boss of the company demands a report for a certain period of time. The course of time always keeps on changing. His employees are bored with the hectic task. The best thing to do is to add a dynamic filter. Yesterday we saw about adding a date filter there. How to achieve that date filter value using this? So this is dynamic filter or interactive filter, friends. So dynamic filter or interactive filter is what we saw yesterday. That will be this answer for this question. Okay, it's not dynamic group here. So that is just to test your knowledge, friends, on these. Okay. So next thing we'll see about something called heat maps. What are heat maps and how to use those heat maps? So once you are done with your assignment, I think you will be able to get a better clarity for that. So I recommend you all to complete the assignments. Now we are in module 3. So we are almost going to complete this module 3. So please complete your assignments for module 2 and module 3 as well. Okay, friends. So the first thing what we will be seeing here is heat maps. So what is this heat map? So this heat map is nothing but it is going to give you a dynamic visualization of the data. So what is this immediate visualization? So after seeing this heat map, what are you able to see here, friends? What things are you able to observe? Here they are taking segment, category, subcategory, and they are taking sum of profit and colors and sum of sales as details. That means once you give a tooltip, the sum of sales would come, and the mark type here is being shown as squares. So this what information are you able to guess after seeing this heat map? So what are you able to observe from this red color? I have added the color red in sum of profit. And what are you able to observe it from here, friends? The red color. What are we getting? Profit is low. Shweta is saying profit is low, right? Red is low profit, Manigandan, and profit is negative, Kalpana. Profit variation is different segments by category and subcategory, Manigandan. Product which are performing well, Sagar is saying that. Yes. Yeah, friends. So this heat map is something which is going to give us some information on, like, so what are the products that are really doing well? What are the products which are not doing well across all the segments? So when we are seeing that, we are able to see this is like a visual representation of the data, more of like colors. It uses colors only. Yes. Red is negative profit and yellow is high profit. So how will you know what is what? You can just see the legend and you will be knowing what is what. So this heat map is basically a two-dimensional representation. So which is going to represent in form of a color. So we'll see how we can create a heat map here. Okay. So this heat maps, whatever you are creating, we will be making use of these heat maps in dashboards directly. So we may not directly consume it or see it as a separate thing. So it is like once you click on that red color there, you will be setting some actions in the dashboard so that the items, whatever which is in red, that gets highlighted and shown. So heat maps are really useful for that purpose. So other than that, I have a documentation for you. I'll show that later to you. First, let's see a heat map. Okay. So I'll take the category. I'll drop my category on my rows. I'll take my subcategory. So I'll take my subcategory and drop it here. And next thing what I will take is, I'll take my segment or region or something. I'll take this segment and drop it here. And after dropping it, I'll take my sales. So the sales value, I'll be adding it in detail. Okay. And I'll be taking my profit in colors. So now what is there? What is happening, friends? Automatically a heat map is getting generated. Automatically a heat map is getting generated for this data, whatever we are seeing. A heat map, I'm able to see that that's getting generated by default here. So you can just see the type is automatically this changed as square. You can manually change it as square as well. It makes no difference. Okay. So what this is basically telling me, it is like a form of highlight table. If I'm enabling the text, it will become a highlight table. If there is no text, it will be a heat map. So heat maps are something which just shows you by colors only. So how I can edit the colors? I click on colors, click on edit colors, and I make it as stepped colors, and I change it from, since it's going to be profits, I'll be giving it red and green, red, green, diverging. I'll make this, I'll click on apply and click on OK. Now I can clearly see what are the items that are not doing that well, which are having negative profits, are these items. And what are doing somewhat okay are these colors which are highlighted here. And what are doing well is this. What are doing really good is the ones which are in a dark green. So when I'm just seeing this picture for the first time, I'll be able to see like, okay, these are the items which are having negative profit. So I as CEO come and click here. So how I'll be making use of this? I'll be making use of this in the dashboards only. So what I will do, I'll take this heat map, drop it in my dashboard, and I'll have my all categories or products sheets just below that or next to that. I'll just have them added one below the other, and I'll make use of that. So basically when I'm clicking on this particular thing, I'll be making an interactive dashboard to work like, so what are the items that are not doing well in the bookcases? How many items are there? How many things are there? Like that, I can make the reports more dynamic and make it look even more better. So that is where I will be making use of this heat maps. So just for immediate visualization, we use this heat map. Are you getting me, friends? Any questions? Yeah, sure. I can just repeat this heat map task once again, friends. I'll just repeat that once again. Okay, so Pragati, this one, how did I get sheet 2 here is, this is a dashboard thing, what I just showed you now. So why are we using sum of sales in that? So where are we using sum of sales? Okay, so here the sum of sales is for just displaying you the numbers in the tooltip. So the sales numbers are getting displayed in the tooltip, right? So that's why the sum of sales I was using there. So this is like a dashboard. You don't need to worry. Uh, I think I got disconnected session by mistake. Sorry. Yeah. Are you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think there was some I just was removed from the session for a while. I had to reconnect back. So, okay. I'm just reading the steps once again. You let know if you are not clear. Some disturbance there? One moment, just a minute, just a minute. Just give me a moment. clear now? Okay, yeah friends, actually, can you hear me now without any disturbance? I heard there was some disturbance from my end. I was just on mute for now, just to correct that. So I hope you are able to hear me now. I'm just showing this heat map once again, friends. Just have a look. This heat map is just for visual representation without any data. Okay. The only thing what we need to do within a heat map is, see, we just took, I'm just showing it to you from first. So we took the subcategories. Okay. So I'll take my subcategories on my rows. I'll take my categories. Category, subcategory, both I will take it here. And what next I would be taking is, I will be taking my segment or region or anything. Let me take region this time. I'll take my region and drop it here. Okay. So after dropping this, what I will do, I will not drop anything on this area, friends. This ABC symbol is coming, right? I will not drop anything there because I am going to get a heat map. So heat map is something which is not going to work, not going to give me any return information. Instead, what I will do, I'll take my sum of sales. I'll take my sum of sales, drop it in my detail shelf. So once I'm dropping something in detail, you see what is happening. Whenever I'm scrolling, in tooltip I'll be getting the sum of sales. But I will not be getting inside anything. Okay. So now comes the important part. This profit, what is there? I'm taking this profit, dropping it in my colors. So as soon as I do that, drop this in my colors, automatically a heat map is getting generated. In a heat map, something what we see is the areas what and all we are seeing it as high, the thick green, that is on a dark green colors. Those are like having really good amount of profit. So out of 49,000, 19,327 is your profit. So by seeing these dark green colors in binders also you are making good amount of profit. That's what we are able to see it here. So these heat maps are really useful in identifying those colors dynamically and making them even more like the darker shade of that color helps you to identify those fields that are like more profitable, and lesser shade that is in red, it shows it is less profitable. So it is mostly done using, these are mostly used in dashboards. When we are using it, we will be making use of this. So for now, we will not worry about dashboards. We will see first on these topics and then we will proceed on with dashboard. Is this clear now, friends, how to create a heat map? Yes. Okay, friends. So this is what is about the heat maps what we had. Okay. Thank you, Kalpana, Sagar. How about you, Samir and others who had some questions on heat maps? Did you get it clarified? Okay. Okay, friends. That's great. So this was the heat maps what used to compare categorical data. So this was like one more thing. They just showed this heat map which was dynamically generated from the show me. So I prefer going for the heat map like this rather than going for that heat map because this is more visually appealing for me. I somehow have some repercussions on this heat map. This is basically like on the sizing it is shows. So sum of profit is showing on size. So I can just drop it in colors to make it more dynamic, and moreover this is a bit more smaller one. This is also the same heat map, but it's in a bit more smaller shape. I can basically expand this title. This will generate me the same heat map as it was I created, the one what we created something before. You can expand this and make it bigger for your viewing and appearance. Okay. And one small thing we'll see, and with this we'll wrap it up. We'll see about the circle plots. So circle plots are basically used for comparing more number of measures there at a single point of time. So for example, when this is there, so the circle plots, if you see, when you are having like something called segment, or you have some, yeah, I'll take the segment, and what I will do, I'll take the segment, and based on the segment, I would like to have my profits based on my segments, and what I need is segment, and based on category I would like to see my profits. So for this there is something called circle plot that is available, circle views. I'm going to try out this, friends. So what and all it has done, you see, it has basically taken my segments here. So there are 3 segments: consumer, corporate and home office. Okay, and after I'm doing that, it has dropped my category in color. So I'm seeing 3 categories. So the blue one is furniture, the orange one is office supplies, and the darker red one is technology. So there are 3 segments there. So if we feel segment is not that much, we can take subcategory or something which is having more number of fields. So we can just drop that here. So you can just drop that here. So this is basically used for comparing large amount of data. So these many accessories are there. I wanted to know which is doing really good amount of sales among all the categories. I'm able to see that technology, copiers are doing the best, which is least performing. Tables is least performing. So when you wanted to represent this amount of data visually, when you wanted to compare more number of fields, more number of measures, so either I can put, instead of subcategory, I can also have a city here. So city might have more data for me. So I'm just taking my city. Based on city, I would like to see the profit. Which city is doing really good among everything? See here, it's able to compare the profits for almost all the cities what we have listed. And we are able to see like which is performing well, which is not performing, which is going down, on what segment it is going down. So when there are more number of fields, more number of dimensional values to compare, the circle plots help us to do that. So how to create a circle plot? It's very easy. Just select the items what you need. Automatically just go here and give the selection here. Automatically a circle plot comes. You can directly create a circle plot from there. It's very simple, friends, but it is generally used for comparing large amount of data. So very large amount of dimensions are there. So compare more measures at the same time with richer analysis. So when you have more measures, that point of time the circle plots are useful. So how the circle plots are created manually, we'll see that. So nothing, friends, on the shapes, on the marks tab, we just need to make it as shapes, that's it. So once you make this as shapes, by default you will be getting a bar chart. In a normal plot, whatever you are getting, you just need to change it as shapes. So once you change it as shapes, the default shape would come, and that shape would be a circle. You can change this shape to anything. You can make it dotted circle or triangle, anything what you want. and you can basically increase the size. So, or put the sum of sales in size, so that the circle, bigger circle indicates this is having bigger sales, smaller circle indicates it's having smaller sales. I'm just making it a bit more bigger. So this is what it is, friends. Any questions here for the circle plots? Any questions? We just stop it with this. We saw about the circle plots and we saw about the heat maps. We'll see something about the scatter plots on tomorrow's class, friends, but there are separate modules for this. We will see about the scatters and other plots. I'll explain it to you in detail, how a scatter plot is looking, what it looks like, how to create it, when to use it. Those things we will see. Any questions here, friends, for circle plots? Okay, if there are no questions, I'm stopping the session for today with this, friends. So I'll show you a document tomorrow about this particular topic. So when to use which one? So what charts to use when? I'll show you a topic on that. Please show me how to save those graphs in my desktop. Okay, for saving those graphs to your desktop, Lopita, what we need to do is, we just go to this worksheet, export image. Just go to this, export an image. You can save these individual graphs as image. Okay, or if you wanted to save it in your Tableau public, what you can do, you can just file save as. You just need to create your logon account there, username and a password, and it will automatically create you a URL and a link, everything, and all your visualizations and things you can save it there in your Tableau public there by default. You just need to create your account there, Lopita. After you create your account, and if you click on save, automatically your visualizations get saved there. Okay, so here I'll show you a couple of documents which was really useful for knowing about which chart to use when. Which chart when? We'll see about this on tomorrow, friends, because this will give us more idea on which chart to use when and these things. Thank you, Ashweta, and thank you, Samir, for your time. We'll see about this chart tomorrow. As we are running short of time today, I don't want you to spend more time here. Here we'll see about when to use what, which chart. So for example, this heat map is available here. When to use this heat map, I'll tell you. When to use this heat maps and when to use this bar chart and other stuff. This has a real-time scenario also along with the existing thing. We'll see about this, friends. Okay. So, okay, friends, then. So for now, we'll end the session. So let's all catch up again tomorrow. Thank you, Jayashri. Thank you, friends. Thank you, everyone. You all have a great day, Dash. See you. Thank you, Sagar. Thank you, Kalpana, Shantini. Thank you so much. See you all. Bye-bye.